Hypno music.
Yeah, gotta let it go. Knees on the ground and I let it go. Yeah, I'm loving my life. Yeah, I'm loving my life. Yeah, gotta let it go. Hands on my knees and I let it flow. Living my life. Yeah, I'm loving my life. Shake it down to my left. Shake it down to my right. Reach towards the sky and wind and round and feel fine. Shake it down to my right. Shake it down to my left. Cause I'm feeling blessed. Feeling at my best. So yeah. Cause I'm feeling blessed. So yeah. Cause I'm feeling blessed. Man, I'm so grateful. Wake up in the morning, rise and thankful. Hey, I'm loving my life. Yes, I'm loving my life. Hey, that's right, my damn soul. Living in the past, they don't let it go. Living my life, standing the test of time. Shake it down to my left. Shake it down to my right. Reach towards the sky and wind and round and feel fine. Shake it down to my right. Shake it down to my left. Cause I'm feeling blessed. Feeling at my best. So yeah. Cause I'm feeling blessed. So yeah. Cause I'm feeling blessed. Nebe barikiwa. Nebe barikiwa. Nebe barikiwa. Nebe barikiwa. Alright.
All right, peace and blessings. Welcome to another episode of Knowledge Radio. Place but not this born. This is your host, Knowledge Born a Lot, and we are here. Okay, blessed. Okay,
Bless.
that's why we started like that. That's why we started like that. Okay, that's like a triple entendre for what's about to happen right now. We have the magical matriarchs in March, and as March comes to a close, there was no way in the world that we could have been honoring magical matriarchs all of March and not include this magical matriarch, this legacy defender, this legacy protector, this legacy establisher, this legacy reestablisher here in a myriad of ways. And we'll get into some of those ways today. So it becomes my honor and privilege at this time to introduce some, present the others somebody from around my way. You understand what I'm saying? It's a little different when you get somebody from around the corner. You understand what I'm saying? Like one who is sojourning here and the maker of miracles. She is the maker of miracles and one who is guiding us aright on our destiny, whether we like it or not. Okay.
Mm.
So Jersey's own is in the building, Brick City in the building.
Yeah.
My sister, a mothering spirit, a calming spirit, and a correcting spirit. Heavy on the correcting spirit. Okay. Here with us. You are covered on Miss Covered. Peace, God. How you feeling?
God, peace, God. I am blessed. Blessed and highly flavored. You know how I do it, you know.
Yes.
Yes, it's an honor and privilege to be here with you as well, my good brother Knowledge, a brilliant mind. Man, oh man, this is long overdue. Long overdue. Long overdue. So I'm blessed to be here today with you, for sure.
Yes. See, I told y'all the blessed was like triple entendre, right? Okay, triple entendre.
Man.
So I want to talk to you about family, and I want to talk to you about legacy. But before we get to family and legacy, I want to get to mother, because you are a phenomenal mother, a mother to many, whether they know they get mothered or not. Okay. So, with mother in the space of exploitation and misrepresentation for the new beings out here, for the new creatures, can you explain to us truly what is mother and why you think, from your perspective, mother has gone through the rigmarole that it has in the past couple of years?
Wow, when you say to the new creatures, you know, that's really where I love to start there because there's so many people from my background that, you know, are in religious sectors, be it Christianity or Islam or things of those sorts. And a lot of times they speak from the place of sin still. Like they just, you know, like we haven't accepted, you know, if you believe Christ saved, then where's that new creature? What does that look like? So I'm glad you pointed that out because it is actually from the healed space, from the renewed space, from the, you know, original design space that I love to share because that's what I see. That's what has been revealed to me. So when you say mother and all of what we know it could encompass, um, you know, the carrying, the cultivating, as we carry those love, our children in our womb, you know, even that part of it, you know, carried in the womb. And for me, my journey was very, very, very different. You know, I, in a sense, I ran from it, not just being a mother physically in real life, but even the spiritual aspect of it, you know, the calling, if you will. So for me, the original design of mother is powerful. It is necessary. And there's the attack. So to your second question, you know, why is it going through the rigmarole? If in fact we were to acknowledge, embody, accept, and move forward from this original design mothering space, the world would have no place. The world's place would be gone. You know, it would have no bearing, it would have no say. And some people like to say the powers that be, when in fact, even that gives them too much power. You know, so I wouldn't dare enter it, you know, approach it that way. It's just, do you accept your power, mother? Do you accept that? Did you accept that role? And I often hear people say, you know, being a mother, oh, naturally, you know, she's gonna fall in love with the baby and nurture, but that's to me, from my experience, incorrect. You have to accept the call of duty. You have to accept that divine connection. The possibility is there. but you can reject it just like anything else. So for me, understanding what comes from this place, this revealed place, is the attack in itself. Why it's attacked in itself? Because it would really put us all in a position to do away with a lot of things that exist that we've accepted already. Now you have to deal with the consequence or the accountability of what you've already accepted. So, and that's not impossible. It's just somewhat difficult at times, you know. And I think that's what the pushback is a lot of times when we talk about the attack on mothers, you know, diminishing women from being mothers, the divine mother, to baby mama. And you know, in the more recent years, you have some say if you're a mother, you're not valuable. You're now diminished to an old car or something else, anything else. So, you know, that's how I look at it. And that's why I think the rigmarole is there for not just mothers in physical, but motherhood as well.
Yes, we've been in some of those spaces with some of these antiquated, misguided thoughts. So, and
Yeah.
I witnessed you mother them along righteously, you know, in the space of love and in the space of correction.
Yeah.
So, love is the next space now. We go from mother to love. So,
Yeah.
from this new creature standpoint, previous to that, your ideas or definitions or functional definitions for love coming into this new creature space, were some of these things affirmed, confirmed, and if they were shifted, how so? And how do you see love from this perspective nowadays?
So from mother and motherhood to love, there was self love, right? And once that was identified as to neglect or to refute motherhood, you'd have to then refute self love. And I wasn't willing to sacrifice that. I wasn't willing to do away with that. So, because that had been established, and gratefully, um, the love had to be identified, you know, as an extension, I guess, if you will. So it was an extension of my self love that is now my motherly love, right? And with love does come correction, to your point. You know, some people say, oh, well, you love me. You're supposed to just accept me, who I am, how I am, blah, blah, blah. And while accepting what you accept for yourself is a part of it, my love is also going to accept me for myself, which is going to impart what is corrective in my view, but not to push past who you say you are or who you accept for yourself. So I can offer correction from my lens through love, with love, as love, not to condemn, because there is where most folks find themselves, and it's their own condemnation, it's their own guilt. It's not so much that I have to inflict some level of condemnation on you to say you're going to a place, hell or wherever, but it's really they don't want to face the revelation of responsibility, accountability within themselves. That conviction, that guilt, that condemnation place, they don't want to tap into. They don't want to face that. So for me, what I've come to understand for me is to love is to be, right? And be it long suffering, be it grace, be it, you know, peace, all of the fruits of the spirits, it is to be. And if as long as I am being me, being who I am, the I am that I am, there's opportunity for a seed to be planted. There's opportunity for a seed to be planted and cultivated and properly. and there's opportunity for a seed that's planted to be watered. And I can release the reins at that point. So, as a mother in love, I can pour into, I can uh, be whatever the need is at the time, be it an ear, be it a shoulder, be it a corrective voice, a reason, whatever that is. I can embody whatever is necessary at the time just by being, and allow the evolution of that to take place and not hold myself hostage to it. So I can release the reins at that point, and that's me loving you or anyone, my children, enough to allow them to be, you know. Um, and I think that's just how we, that's the God, that's the love in itself. I love you enough to let you be who you are. I also love me enough to allow myself to be who I am. So I love you as I love myself, not above or not below.
Fire. Now, here why I had to get on, okay, to share this wisdom, to share this knowledge, to share this understanding, to share this loving kindness personified, okay? All right. All right. So, for motherhood to love, to legacy protection,
Mm.
to legacy protection, what got you started on this particular path from whatever vantage point? You have the embodiment of it all. You are covered. That erases doubt. This is erasing fear. It erases all sorts of things. It answers a multitude of things that scripture said. They were talking about money. We was talking about coverage, like being covered. So what
Right.
was it in that space that went along with this legacy protection for you?
So legacy protection, not initially as a young girl coming into self early was a blessing, but that may or may not have been the requirement, may have been going through the drama maybe or not, but because of some of it, you get to where you are. And there's a strong connection between myself and my dad. Anyone that knows me, I'm a daddy's girl. And I realized that there are things that you want to impart, you want to leave, you want to have it to grow. And once I understood love, self-love, and I was aware of that, and all of this, for me, I hope this not sound redundant, but it is very simple, maybe not as easy, but it is just love. And a lot of things I do just, kind of clump up to that, because it was that awakening that made this, right? Everything stands and starts from here and moves in that. So once I understood, overstood loving me, and how God created me, and that is what I'm called to be, right? It brought into action. And what that action was motherhood, accepting that duty, and the duty of the legacy, right? Because if I'm mothering and the young people are growing, what is the overall goal, right? When we think about why we created, and I talk about the original design in Genesis 1:26, I am, a believer of scripture, So if we were called to do a thing, be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, have dominion. I know a lot of people stop at be fruitful, multiply, but if I take on all of the duty, here's the principle that goes into this. Well, how can I replenish the earth if there's no legacy? If there's no understanding being pushed forward? And all of my getting, I need to get understanding. So if I need to get understanding, I need to sow understanding. And that legacy, and then when people say legacy, they do liken it just to the name, this one begot this one and this one begot that one. And I understand all of that. But again, from the new creature aspect of all of that, begat this one for what? As to be called to what? So with legacy for me was the understanding that it's bigger than a name. Um, it was the call. It was the understanding, you know, it all encompassing to be rooted and grounded in this earth and to build a tree, you know, that will stand and not falter. And that's what legacy was and is for me. That's what was brought to me, you know, the awareness that was brought to me when I had to accept being a mom. You know, here I am blessed to have a child naturally. And there are women and men around the world hoping, wanting, praying for the opportunity to reproduce. And I won't get too much into my testimony, but I rejected it and rejected it so much to the point where I didn't even show until what, my day of my baby shower, which was technically 2 days prior to I had my son. So you can tell I was pregnant. I rejected it in the day of the baby shower. It was, I had tried everything I could try to do away with it. And we can, you know, like I said, I won't get too much into that, but there were several attempts to, you know, have this not be the outcome. And once, you know, it was nothing else that I can do. Here it is. I'm 7.5+ months pregnant. I'm having a kid. I had to accept it. And in that moment, in between that Friday into that Saturday of the baby shower morning, I accepted it. I cried. I prayed, of course. I'm like, Lord, please don't let my child come out, you know, with one toe or, you know, all discombobulated because of certain things that I had done and everything. So that acceptance came the next morning. I showed so much I couldn't fit anything in knowledge. I mean, we had to buy clothes. I wore slippers to my baby shower. I blew up. I accepted it. My body accepted it. And that's the power that we really have. That was evidence of the power that we have, because as long as I rejected it, not saying that God would allow him to just be done away with, because there was a piece of me that had accepted it, just not fully. So once I fully accepted it, here I am showing you know, it was almost unbelievable. My mother was like, I can't believe it. But I say all that to say that once I accepted that call to life, to being what I was created to be, it brought on the call of duty. And those duties included motherhood, included legacy, and not just being a part of someone else's legacy, but maybe where you may be going is to reestablish legacy and what it is and what it will be moving forward, how it's going to do greater works than what was already done by my predecessors, my elders, you know. So that's what legacy is for me, to me, and with me at this moment.
Amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I saw a picture of my mother 3 days before I was born, and you couldn't tell she was pregnant either. You know, she was working for a law firm, she was modeling, she was doing all kinds of stuff. You see what I'm saying? Like, uh, and that's a part of my birth story. You know, so that birth story that is shared between and you and your legacy is something that's special. And if my mother never told me, I would have never known, you know. So sitting us down and telling us all of the process of the birth story that begins the part of the superhero or the supervillain, like we always get into.
Absolutely.
Right. So
Absolutely.
that legacy, you know, is a part of the story that is how you are the way you are, and how you put it, you know, coming into existence and understanding why, you know. So that
Right.
calling, why are you here? What are you here for? You know, what are you here to do? So
Right. And it's a duty of truth and transparency. You
Mm.
know, when I think of motherhood, there's a duty and a level of truth and transparency. When I think of legacy, and that was the desire too, because when for me, legacy wasn't bestowed to me. I'm still searching. Who are my people? Where are my
Mm.
people? What is going on? There was so much secrecy in some of the previous generations because of shame or guilt or,
Yes.
abuse. And we know all of the different things that have gone on. So we don't hold them hostage to those things. I approach it with understanding.
Mm.
However, to get to the actual know of who's who, and it takes some peeling back some layers, and that level of honesty, that level of transparency, some are still a little reluctant to tap into, excuse me. So you have to continue to use other avenues. I went to a homegoing. This is just what the other day, what was today, is Saturday, was Wednesday, and the
Mm.
person had my family's last name. And immediately, now this is a common last name, yes, but I'm like, yeah, I don't know them. And I would like to know them. So every time it presents itself to me, I say, well, let me at least, make an attempt to find out, are these my people? If they are my people, hey cousin, love you,
Mm.
I mean, I love God's people anyway, but it's just like, oh, it don't
Mhm.
even matter. Right off the rip, hey, so just having to being a part of the journey, having the challenge of taking a chance and just saying, hey, this is who I am, this is where I'm from, this is my folks, to the level that I know them. Do you know any of them? Now on the other side of the
Mm.
family, it goes all the way back. We know way, 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 way back. We got a cemetery that's owned by the family name in the 1800s all the way down, that we see. And because that, I know what that feels like. I know that level of knowing who you are feels like. That desire to know the other side is
Mhm.
there as well. And the desire, or the acceptance of duty to never have my children wonder, is also there. So to remove them of that void or that unknown space that could go so many places, we see it, right? The identity
Mhm.
crisis that we talk about so often. I wouldn't dare put that on them because I've accepted the call of duty to motherhood, to parenthood. That means that pushes me into doing, what I have to do, regardless of how comfortable or uncomfortable it may be, because it's not always comfortable. But thank God for the confidence to and the courage to push past uncomfort, or like we were talking before we went live, any type of nervousness that could happen, or I'm
Mhm.
not tapping into any of those energies while I know they exist. That I am love, that being, I get to stay and say, hey, nope, you don't have this type of authority. I'm going to stand in this authority or this energy to accomplish this goal, and move forward in this way. So that's the beauty and the benefit of, back to that self love. I'm gonna keep going back to
Mhm.
that self love. I mean,
Yes, please
that's the
do.
foundation of it. So
So
yeah.
now I want to talk about a spirit of service on one side, and then this musical legacy slash communication legacy slash management legacy, like all of the layers of the layeredness that is you. You see what I'm saying? And that's just what is known. Okay, there's a bunch of things that are very much unknown, but for those things that are known, how did this passion and zeal for what you do come alive in regards to, you know, you are covered management, the music, you know, the service to your fellow man, the service to your community, things of that nature.
Wow. So how did it come along? I feel like it's not something that came along. I feel like it's always been there. It is when you think I am created to be, and being is all of these things that you just mentioned. It's always there, part of the being. When I talk about being a daddy's girl, I'm reminded of times, not that dad is perfect, not that mom is perfect, because of course they're perfect in their own way, right? And I can see that and I glean from that. And with that, I was able to tap into the passion and love for music that my dad had. We'd be in the kitchen and like I still beat on my chest. Not as not to say like I am here, hear me roar, but it's just it on my stomach. We would be creative in that kitchen because my dad would be fixing food and he loved to serve. So it's a part of who I am based on the part of who my father is. And my mom, in another light, she liked to serve. You can call her any time of the day for a prayer. Once deliverance came for her, she invested her life into being of service to others by way of being available in that way. So her being in the walk that she's in, the Christian world that she's in, gave room for her to be in purpose, and she was available. So serving others, she'd have me in the old folks home. I'm out in the halfway house on what's that, 18th and 16th Street. And we are out there. We are outside. Okay. We doing tent services, street meets, we're outside. And she literally took scripture to literally like, go 2 by 2. She could get nobody else to go. All right, you coming with me. I'm a kid. I don't want to go. But I was in those places seeing the outcome of servitude. I was able to I was benefited enough to see how people being served responded. So not only was I there from the call from what my parents accepted as their call, like I said, my father serving his family. He'd be in the kitchen, he'd cook, he'd make sure my mom was a well-kept woman, make sure he took care of her. I still get my chair pulled out, my coat assisted, my coat put on. I am open doors. This is the type of training and the type of handling that I had with care from my father. Every day I was a beautiful Black queen. I don't recall ever being called a princess, honestly. So I never really fell into the delusion of princess, hood, but I was every day a beautiful Black queen. To this day, baby girl to my father. And those things that are in me, not on me, because I accepted them. They came from my dad, that is what it is. He said it. I'll share a quick story. As a little girl, my mom inherited the home, right? So her people come from something. She inherited the home. There was a park down the street from the home. My father told me that was my park. It was named after me. It belonged to me. Okay. So at the tender ages of 3, 5, I own a park. That's my park. You have to ask permission to play in this park. You have to get permission to swing on the swing, to do anything you want to do in this park. Now, it's a small block, so it wasn't like a ton of kids that I had to, go through. But I would go to the kids in that park, be like, "Do you want to play?" I had their little kid sisters. You got to let me play with your kid sister if you want to play in my park. And because of the level of confidence that I had in it with my dad, I was able to invoke that onto them, like where they believed it too. They're giving me their toys, their little glow worms or whatever that little worm thing was. They're giving me their toys so they can swing on the swing. Some people might liken it to a bully now, but for me, it was, I believe this is mine. And for you to, use my stuff, this is what you have to do. And that is just the level of acceptance that I had. I'm crazy enough to believe what the word says about me, type of thing. I'm crazy enough to believe my father said I'm a beautiful Black queen, so I am. And I operate that way. My mother said I'm the head and not the tail because she believed the word. I believe it, so a lot of it is, and not just believe it, I know it to be true because of the outcome. Because when I stand in it, when I walk in it, the outcome yields the return to say it is so. So I know people get caught up on, oh, you believe it or no. I know. I've seen the results. The results are in. Favorable outcome. Check favorable. And when you start going through life and you're checking favorable outcome, the trauma that may have hit at 3, the trauma that may have come at 7, the trauma I might have experienced at 9, it goes like this. It is so minute to the impact that the favorable results have, that it is only there so that I can see someone else there and speak life into them at that point. That is its only purpose. It no longer holds weight. It's no longer a space for me to revisit, because it's once you come out of it, you heal. I don't need to go back. It's only for me to identify when I need to speak life to someone who's in that space. And, this is how I got to the languages, which you mentioned, like music or, whatever the language. It was because of what I've come from, what I've survived, and what I've lived through, the outcomes, like I said, those favorable outcomes, the confidence and believing and accepting the life that was spoken over me. My father said, "You're going to count my money, baby girl, all my life." So even as we get into what you are covered is and how I got into this life, and it was accepting the life and rejecting the death and all of the trauma. And I grew to have a passion for music from the kitchen experiences, and I grew to love to serve my family. And I'm in the kitchen, I'm always in the kitchen cooking, my little people in the kitchen cooking with me. It's a love language at this point. We love each other. If I'm not in the kitchen, I'm getting a text message, "Hey, I'm in the kitchen making the egg. Anybody want one?" So we're there with it, and music is playing throughout the house at different points of time. If someone's cleaning, you already know what's going on. You can tell by the energy or the tempo of the music, the tempo. Okay, somebody down there cooking. Okay, somebody down there cleaning. Oh, somebody is reading. We could really tell where we are in whatever space we're in, just sometimes by the music we have going, because it's a language at this point, even in my home. And how it resonates outside of the home is, being knowledgeable. I had to grow, and I am still growing my knowledge of music and artists. This, like my relationship with music is still growing, so that I can communicate with peers and other folks, and knowing how music has influenced them. When we talk about this identity crisis, not having certain understandings and to who you are, there's levels where music has influenced folks to go left, right, whatever, and wanting to understand how music has influenced them. So I work on understanding that realm of music and still loving it in the way that I love it, being a part of it, singing, growing up in the church. God rest the soul of my beautiful overseer Bernice Jackson. Wonderful foundation of a leader, classy, gracious woman. So stern, strict, and I don't regret the foundation, regardless of how I've grown to beyond it, understanding that it's just that, the foundation, but you got to build on that, right? So I appreciate that foundation. Being in the choir, we had groups. I was in one of the singing groups, even in the church, called Unique Praise. Growing from that, I was in a ministry called Will Brown and Another Level. With that experience, I was able to tour. I was able to be on platforms with some of the greatest music artists, gospel music artists that we know even today. My favorites were the Clark Sisters. Coming up, couldn't tell me nothing about the Clark Sisters, okay? When I say blessed and highly flavored, their song is blessed and highly favored, so that's them. It's in me. Some things just come out, you're not even paying attention to it. So being able to have an experience where I've done background with Dorinda Clark Cole, I've sang on the same platforms as Kiara Shared, Karen's daughter, and being in their church. We traveled to Detroit and was at the Shares Church. These experiences were like, again, favorable outcomes, check. Standing on this principle, standing on being this type of woman, standing on being this type of adult, this type of person, yielded me positive return, positive outcomes. and following the passion, not adhering to whatever the naysayers say. Oh, you're a mom, you can't do this. It never dawned on me that because I was a young mom that my life was going to stop. It never stopped. There wasn't a thing I wanted to do that I didn't do because I was a mom. So a lot of the naysaying that I heard, if you don't beat that kid, he gonna beat you. When I decided I'm not physically chastising my child, it's not necessary, nor is it something that I feel and hear. I don't have to be beat physically from my creator for me to get the message. Correction doesn't require a beating. And that's what I understood. So all of these things started to play a part. I was able to travel and enjoy singing on platforms and ministering through song. I was able to enjoy meeting different artists, not just gospel artists. You got your Aaron Camper, just different artists, Robert Glasper, that I was able to meet, interview, by way of connecting through music into what is now more of, at one point, managing the group that I was singing with, right? So I was singing with this group, then I started managing the same group and taking care of the books and making sure, our tour dates, wherever we were going, if we're in Detroit, making sure everything's taken care of and everything like that, and handling all of the logistical business and things of those sorts. And then that growing into everything's building upon and growing upon. Now hosting events. We did our CD release, and we got Molly Music, right? So had Molly come out as mom, wonderful. She was like my first mentor. And just those things, growing and growing and growing it. And as I was growing, my love and my passion for it, my position in it changed. I'm no longer singing in front of everybody. That there was no desire for that. Once I had sung with, some of the people I sung, that was it. I came, I saw, I conquered, but never losing the connection to it. So I went from being on stage to being behind the stage, being in the background, doing the logistical stuff and managing, to live production. Now I'm putting on live events, and we have live band. Everything that Your Cover does in terms of an event is going to have a live band, and we have live bands. And because there's an energy, there's an ambiance, there's an atmosphere that we set. All of those things, those principles were still there. I started with Freedom Lounge. Me and my cousin, we got together. We were frustrated with church in a sense of how it was going. And you have people coming that aren't really pouring into the community, pouring into the congregation properly, but they're gifted and they're just showing off. And I think there's a place for that, right? That was a goal. We were like, well, you should be able to show off your talent. There should be a place where you can come in and do all your riff and runs and your vocal acrobatics, and you're on the bass and you doing that bass line. And we know, how it could be. You got your nephews on the drums, so that level of skill and gift you want to, show. You want to have a platform where that could be highlighted and illuminated. In the church, though, on the pulpit, though, is where I had a problem because of the way I honored from accepting, my upbringing, that foundation. I'm like, this don't belong here. This is not what it should be. So we came together. We created an event called Freedom Lounge. Major hit. Worked. This is back when Key Club was still open. So we had it at the Key Club, right? Yes. And it was an amazing event. People are still to this day asking, when are we going to do the event again? I just saw memories on Facebook 14 years ago from flyers of the event and how impactful that was. But it was really just to create a space for people to share their gift, their talents in that way, and it not be, disrespectful to the platform or the pulpit, or the sanctuary, because everything had its place. And let's leave that place where it's at, where it's, what it's honored to be. And that worked. And, like I said, from Freedom Lounge to Jersey Reloaded to, events like the last event that I did prior to COVID, right in 2020, was Love versus Lust. I had got into doing essential oils and stuff like that, and all these nice things, for married folks. Keep it keep it PG, right? So we had that event where, live band, you come and you're able to buy, purchase different essential oils all the way down to things that are beneficial for married folks and etc. So everything was an evolution, but not leaving the foundation. Still adhering to the principle, still holding on to the core value of what it is I stand firm in and I adhere to for myself. So that music language, that managerial language, that outreach language, mission work, all of those things coming into place led to You Are Covered Life and Annuity. So, you know, I feel like I've been talking a lot, so I'm allow you to chime in. Help me, yeah, help me out. Talk.
That's a sin. That's a sin over here. Okay. I, I I don't invite people on. I don't want to hear this story. Okay. This is a drop in the bucket from this vast legacy that is you. So I want to give it credence. I want to give it there's a bunch of things that you answered in the process. I'm just going along with it. I don't have to say, hey, what about this? What about this? So just in the flow,
Right.
oftentimes you just got to get in the flow. So we right here, right where I was going next. You see what I'm saying? Y'all see why she's so amazing? Right here. You are
Right here.
covered life and annuity.
Right.
We
Right.
we're black people, okay? For those who are
Uh-oh.
still black, because I think it's optional nowadays. You can opt in, opt out, whatever. We
I
went through
identify as
some of
white.
that, right?
I identify as green. I identify as
Yeah.
I
Everybody
identify as a
get
new creature. Thank
yes,
you. That's me.
yes.
But yeah. So but You Are Covered Life and Annuity, again, taking on the call of mission, and accepting the life that was spoken into me from my father. You're gonna count my money, baby girl. I mean, my dad is a carpenter, has always worked for himself all of my life. And I recall this one situation in particular came in. He said, baby girl, he had gone out for maybe, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 days he's at a job. Because, with carpentry, sometimes you got to be on site and things like that. I had opportunity to be on job sites. My father has shown me how to put floors down, hang up sheetrock, put down those things. I have the tutelage to do. I don't have to do it. See, I won't break these nails because I've always been able to be a girl. You know, it was never in question, even though I had on Timberland boots and a hoodie, if I was a girl or not. And I was the only girl for the first 10 years of my life. So I was very spoiled. Okay. And am. So life and annuity, coming from counting my dad's money, like I was sharing with the story, he came in, count this money, baby girl. It was $10,000 that I had to count in cash. And we were counting the money. He said, "You're going to count my money always. This is something he's always told me." And I'm counting the money. And like I said, he told me, I accepted it. And what was I doing? I was actually counting money. So there was never a reason not to believe what I was being told because the evidence was there. Um, and we talk about, he said, "What you want me to do with it?" Right? He always asks me questions. What do you want to do? And I said, "Oh, okay, I want this. We could do this. We could do that. Da da da." And not really understanding that those opportunities to just explore in my own mind and not really being confined to a thought or indoctrinated, if you will, with a particular type of thought was also a part of how I was able to accept the life that was spoken into me and find the lane in which would work for me. So I didn't have to be a carpenter. I didn't have to be a preacher, although I'm a licensed ordained, evangelist, etc. I didn't and getting a doctorate, woo, honorary doctorate. I didn't have to do what my parents did in order for me to accept the life that and the seeds that they poured into me. And I was able to accept the call to finances and legacy and understanding and stumbled upon life insurance. Now, the person that reached out to me for life insurance, I didn't know him from a can of paint. I guess this is just one of their regular things. Aflac, all of those types of things. I'm not shouting out Aflac. I'm just saying, just because they sent me to do commercial stuff like that, right? But they called. It was AIG was the company. They just called, hey, we see that you have the qualifications. This is off of LinkedIn or something, and we want to know if you want to come join. I'm like, no, I don't. End of story. And then they sent me an email. I'm like, they didn't hear no. No is a complete sentence. I'm gonna do a campaign. No is a complete sentence, but
Yes, yes.
no, I wasn't interested, and at the time, I wasn't. So maybe a month or so later, the company swung back around, and it was a different person. It was the actual agent at this point who was doing his own thing. He had his own incentives. He wanted to grow his team. And he reached out and he paid for me to learn. He made that initial investment. And he said, I already can tell that you're going to be phenomenal in this. So I'm willing to invest in you. And he did. And I went through the training. I had to, we had like online training. I had to show up 9 to 5, on Zoom, on camera, study. I went through all of the training, passed the test. And as I was learning, I'm like, wait a minute. Where did this come from? Where was this information in 7th grade? And I wasn't gifted and talented, by the way. So in 7th grade, I had calculus at what is now Cicely Tyson. It was Vernie L. Edmondson. I mean, there was VLD back then. Vernie L. Davidson, whatever his name is. So I'm like,
Vernon L. Davy.
Vernon
Vernon Llewellyn Davy Jr.
Yes, it was VLD. Now it's Cicely Tyson. I was there for the ribbon cutting. I was still there when Cicely Tyson came to cut the ribbon. But I was like, I've been in gifted and talented for so many years, like from 3rd grade on, and had never come across this type of information. And here I am in my big age, adulthood, had been in my salary position career at Rutgers University for years at this point and had not come across this information. I'm a student at the Rutgers Business School and had not come across this information. So I'm intrigued, right? I did love to learn and I like to be in the know. So I'm intrigued. And as I'm learning, I'm looking at ways that this can apply to me. How do I implement this in my life? And when I realized after I got through the course, how beneficial not just having life insurance, and my prior knowledge to it was death insurance, not even life insurance. It was shared to me, not even in great deal, but just in the small times that we did hear about it, was always considered death insurance from the people, in my family, etc. So, very, very intrigued, enthused, ambitious at this point. I'm implementing things. I'm getting a policy for me and mine. And as I grew in the knowledge of the life insurance, initially my training was just scheduling appointments and seeing how others were, doing it. I'm sitting on Zooms with them as they're writing policies, etc. And it was very disheartening, saddening almost, my initial experience, because it just stems back to what we knew, death insurance. It wasn't like it really was a concern for the life on the other end. It wasn't like these folks that I was working with and working for were really concerned about the people who policies they were putting in position. And it was like, just get upsell them. And I'm like, yeah, that could be a part of it, but it did not. Again, almost like that physical chastising of the child. For some people, they feel like that's rearing, spoil the rod, spare the child. They have agreed and conceptualized these things to the point where they make it make sense. The cognitive dissonance in that is they justify it. And these folks had done the same. They had justified the means of upselling these folks and not really concerning if they could maintain it, sustain it, and really benefit from it. It did not sit well with me. I didn't want to participate, but I did not want to leave either, because this is a great thing. This is a beneficial thing. So I was on the House of Clubs, aka Clubhouse, one day, and I came across another person who is in the industry, right? They were licensed, I'm licensed. I'm frustrated with my license, similar to like when Freedom Lounge was established. I was frustrated with what was going on in that world. And, you find yourself finding a frustration. You are called to change it at that point. That's my firm understanding. If I come across something that's frustrating me, my spirit, my soul, there's a call for me to do something. And that was the same thing. And I tapped in with my current partner to this day, Alfredo, and we were talking, and he was facing frustrations where he was at the same time, and had just recently moved into another company that was not um, restricted, right? So we were able to not be captive, and we were able to be more like brokers and work with different companies, and the compensation was better. The tonality of the learning was better. There was still some hiccups, but it was better. So I moved into that position, and that allowed me to open up to annuities, IRAs, just the world of it, all of it, the world of it, even continuing my education to estate planning and things of that sort, because it went back to family, to love, to myself, and growing in information and knowledge and understanding of this financial world was and is tapped into my ministry. It is now included into what is my ministry, what is my life purpose, what is my being. It is a part of my inhale, exhale. I don't have to do much of anything for it to come out. It's in me, it comes out. And with life and annuity, it's not so much, and this is what I want to share in terms of the airways that's going out, is that it's not so much what the life insurance and annuity policies are. I don't care if you identify them as a death policy. I don't care if you identify it as a life policy, because there is a benefit at death. Goes to the beneficiary. There's a benefit from life. You have, living benefits. If you terminal or critical illness, you can tap into your policy. But it is what it does that I really want folks to also understand, because all we've been given is the what it is. And my goal, my angle, my lane is what it is, what it does, how it works, how it can benefit you. And those aspects, that becoming your own bank, right? That legacy that we talked about. Now we're in establishing the legacy in a way that is formidable for everyone to participate and to benefit. So no, you don't have to just be a part of my legacy and not have your own. It is because you have your own that you can come and connect with mine. We're building and establishing home offices, family offices with each other, with the family. And that's the overall goal. To me, that is how we tap into the dominion. I ain't gonna go too far, but we don't have to go and march.
Go. You can go.
We don't have
to
to, be on screen and on TVs and be seen and everything like that for us to take that formula, take this information, take this seed, or this, accept this as water for seeds. You might have heard this some time ago, and really move your family forward in it. Establish, a loved one in this thing where you take the policy and you make the policy work. Being your own bank, having a wealth generator, there's so many different ways to work it, but making sure that whichever way you understand that there are ways to work it. Some people love the stock exchange. Oh, well, you like playing games? Guess what? Get your life insurance policy and have it diversified. Put some in the S&P 500, put some in the Barclays. You still get that same little, this is a running joke for y'all, for me and knowledge, so bear with us, because it's kind of hard not to, right? Because we have a relationship and rapport. But it's a way for you to go ahead and caress the amygdala, Stroke the pineal gland, if you will. If that's what you're into, you want to see the stock go up and down, there's a safe way to do it. And that safe way is in the life insurance policy because of the floor that you have, and you don't lose if the industry does crash because of the fact that it's indexed. It's not really in it. So that's what I just try to share with people, and I try to speak to all of the different languages. I don't care if, like I was just saying, if you're into cryptocurrency, if you're into forex, if you're into day trading, if you're into houses flipping and wholesaling, whatever these things are, they all come with risk. Whatever shoe you like, Nike, I like New Balance. It's all fine and well. We both want to put shoes on our feet, So it's really just finding out what vehicle, if it's I recently saw a Rolls Royce that spoke to my life, but it doesn't matter because I love my Toyota Avalon. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't matter what the vehicle is or the shoe size is. Choose according to having all of the information. That, in fact, is my goal. That is, you are covered. That is covering all bases, and allowing folks the autonomy to choose for themselves. And, with everything that I've experienced in life, this is where I am. This is the call of duty that I've accepted, that I enjoy. I'd be lying if I didn't say it. If I didn't enjoy it, I enjoy it. It's easy. And I agree when scripture says, take my yoke is easy, my burden is light. Yep, sounds about right. Because life is going to show you yokes and burdens. That's going to come with life. So why not choose one that's easy and light? And for me, that's what I chose it. And I accept it. And it's easy, and I am blessed because of it. I am covered. I am what they say on the Clubhouse, I am complete. And I'm grateful. Of all things, I'm really grateful that I have opportunities such as this to sit amongst brilliant minds as yourself, and we get to share platforms, whether it's the sentimental expression, and we're discussing, things that you're passionate about through film and using film as backdrops and movies as backdrops to really encourage folks to change and see different aspects of their lives, or just allow them the opportunity to relate, find things relatable. If it's a music discussion and we're going back to old school hip hop, and you give credence and honor to all of them, I'm really astonished and amazed at how you do it, right? Because you will recall like what is it? The 5 heartbeats you said? Today is the anniversary?
33-year anniversary, yes.
33-year anniversary. The way you're able to retain, these things is amazing. And how you give honor and credence to them, I just adore it, and I hope to glean some of that from you, from being around you, and everything like that, because it's important when we talk about legacy, and we don't want people to erase our history and rewrite our history. Well, it requires us to actually take note, retain, and share it, so I'm inspired to retain, more. And like I said, my relationship with music and things of those sorts may be growing, but even as it grows, it's like hold dear to those things, that matter, and make sure that you're pushing those things forward. You're paying it forward. So, I'm always grateful to be in, like I said, the spaces with you and some of the, our peers that we give credence and flowers to all of the time for their great minds and how they're in film. Somebody like a Teton or something, they're doing the work in their lane, and everyone is in their space respectfully. And I think that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of living and being, so gratitude to you, my good brother Knowledge.
Gratitude to you for helping, assisting us to change the narrative. You have changing the narrative. You don't have to accept the status quo. You don't have to accept these labels and these things that are placed upon us that appear to be burdens, that appear to be limiting.
Right.
You allow us the space and the latitude to think beyond the circumstances. So I think that was a very powerful thing since the first time we connected. Like no, like I understood that no was a complete sentence, with an exclamation point. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? Like yes, there's going to be some requirements. There's going to be some standards. There are going to be some things that are uncomfortable. Being comfortable, being uncomfortable.
Right.
There's a strive, there's a space of dedication, there's a space of resilience, there's a space that leaves room for ascension. We were in this space with people that couldn't think beyond them circumstances, couldn't think beyond their triggers and their traumas and their dramas. Like, oh, like, is this the legacy for forever?
Right.
So this is what we would discover the concept, rich forever. Like, what does that mean? Like, can you envision it in your mind? What's your functional definition? How can you envision this for your bloodline? You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Like your future. How are you going to be remembered? How are you going to be recalled in all of those spaces? My brother and I, my older brother and I, were talking to an elder. I think I told you about this in the neighborhood, and he was like, I grew up in the house, and this that, and he was like, y'all probably look at me like I was soft. I was like, I wanted with everything in my being to remind this elder of this was the standard. Okay.
Right.
This is a standard, and it's not only a standard, this is something that we long for. We long for this thing to be a normal thing. You understand what I'm saying? We
Right.
long for this to be a very normal thing. So, no, you did it the right way. We had to try to figure it out. We were out in the streets into God knows what because there was no way for us to figure it out, but we figured it out now. So,
Mhm.
for our families and for our legacies, there's something different. But
Right.
imagine if that learning curve was decreased. You understand what I'm saying? So I told the elder, I'm like, no, sir, no, sir. I said, you grew up in a house. I said, your children have families, right? He says, yes. Their families live in a house, right? He says, yes. I said, where do you think they got that example from? Do you know how
Right.
many grown people we know that are looking for another apartment because they grew up in apartments? He
Yep.
was like, man, I didn't think about it like that. So we have to create spaces where people can think beyond their circumstances. Like, no, this is the minimum. This is the base foundation that you're talking about. Now, what about the rest of these things? Now, so
Right.
what are these things that are implemented in regards to this reformation? And you provide us these tools, the insight to help us change the narrative, not just from a philosophical space, but from a practical application space. So the philosophy is good. The building the mentality is good. The
Right.
embracing of the growth mindset is good. But now what's next? What do you have to actually do? What are the action steps? So, I thank you for those. The music thing, that's okay. These are easier things to deal with people's psychology than to actually sit down with them and convert them to a life-giving, life-affirming space from a deaf, finite, finished
Mm.
space. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? When you said death insurance versus life insurance, whoo, that that was like a bombshell. You understand what I'm saying? So,
Mm.
Hal Williams and them said this used to be something that you had to sell. Like you had to sell it in a kind of a way. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
you might have went in those spaces and had those experiences with people not really teaching you how to build a great book of business. Just like, hey, just get it. But
Anything.
what about these other things? What about these other things? What about chargebacks? What about people not dealing with the life of the policy, like getting
Right.
people in over their head and then they got to choose between bread and water and life insurance? Life insurance is gone. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying?
Out
Like,
the
so
door. It's
yes,
out the
yes,
door. And how is that
yes,
beneficial to anyone?
yes,
That doesn't really benefit us as a whole. So
right,
it's like, what is it that you're actually, what is the actual call? What is the actual need? And while they know it, I'll just say that, keep
right,
Fiji. They know it. They knew to keep a certain level of information, aside. And it's like,
right,
just sell them, just sell them, just sell them.
right,
No, We've been sold enough.
Right.
Emphasis on sold.
Yes.
Pun
Yes.
included, entendre. Daggone it. We've been
Yes.
sold enough. And that's why it's a passion of mine. We were in a space earlier and it was like, should you give information for free? I'm not giving something that I don't own. I don't own information.
Right.
That's just like people with the scripture. You don't own this.
Right.
It don't belong to you. You're debating something that's not yours to debate. You're arguing mute points. Stop it. Share and love, be love, and then see what happens from there. Let's see what that outcome is like. You've been in spaces where we're sharing these types of thoughts as it pertains to identity crisis and the N word and the B word.
Yes.
And people just want to hold on to it and be frustrated every day. Every day, you want me to sit here and listen to how frustrated you are that you still walking around calling yourself the N word?
Right.
No. Not gonna do it. So until
all day, every day.
Stop doing it.
Yeah, I'm not. Don't call me black, but you don't have a problem calling me N-word.
Yeah, no,
it's crazy. Yeah,
it's insane, and there's so much more to go into it when you come to that understanding. Because now, as a parent, with pushing the legacy forward, we didn't get to have the space yet, but parenting adults, right? Building on that legacy building on in itself. What does that look like? What are these new creatures look like? When new creatures are birthing new creatures.
Yes.
So we have so much more.
Rich forever. That's what it looks like.
Yes. And ever. That evolution, that greater works. Nobody ever talk. What is the greater works? What does the greater work look like? And we have so much more work to do. Then how do you get to be tired? You haven't done enough to be tired. This isn't, and people talk about retirement, and that's another thing that these life insurance policies can do, retire you. For somebody like myself, I probably would never retire. I'm called to this work to my dying day, and I enjoy knowing that. So there's no clock. There's no tick-tock. I don't have to, I don't have anything over my head. Like, if you don't get it done today, you're doomed. No. None of that exists. Every day that I live and breathe, this is a mission, this is a being, and I am doing what I'm called to do. So when that time is up, everything in me is already gone because I'm giving it daily. I don't have to wait. Some people are like, oh, the grave is full of this, that, and the third. Well, it won't be my grave.
Right.
If my body even make it to a grave, I don't even know. Cremate me, make it easy on yourself. I don't know.
Right.
But there's so much more to do. So sharing information is breathing. That is not even the work. It's really going into the hedges and the highways, going back into the churches, going back into the streets, that are filled with gang relations and our young people killing each other, not understanding the beauty of their own lives, to, really putting it back, paying it forward, going in those spaces. That's where you're going to catch me. Yes, I have the license to be on somebody's pulpit, but there's enough jokers on the pulpit for me not to need to be there. So for me, I'm where I need to be, and I understand that we're all one body, many members. So if I'm a toe today, it's okay. I'm going to be 100% that toe. And I'm going to do all of what that toe needs to do, because let you mess around and stump your toe, and I bet you realize how necessary it is. I bet you realize, OMG, I need my toes. So, I don't get caught up on needing to be the head or the neck or the this or that. I am where I need to be. And I'm not even going to go into that. That's a whole nother lane. Which we could always talk about if you want, but as it pertains to you are covered and being covered, accepting my covering, even to the extent of where we're not going, when my husband comes along, etc. That's a beautiful thing. It's all a beautiful thing for me, and it's all just inhale, exhale. It's not nothing I need to do outside of being. So yeah. I appreciate
final word final word, where people can find you, how they can book their discovery call. I'll put the link up there.
Okay, yes. So you have the website
Yeah.
already up there?
Yes.
Okay.
You can tell them though,
Okay, yeah. So on most social media platforms, I am You Are Covered. Instagram, it is You Are Covered Management, and on Instagram is a link tree that goes to You Are Covered Management platforms, TikTok, what else? Clubhouse, Fanbase, X, all of the social Facebook, all of the social media sites. But as it pertains to moving the community forward, please, if you heard anything today that you find to be beneficial, you can go ahead and schedule a discovery call to see how it could benefit you and your family with this website, www.youarecovered.info. And we can schedule a call. You can get information. There's no charge for these calls. They are free. They're not free. They're wealth. They're worth valuable time. So I don't even like to use free, but it's easily just to accept the call to share information. I don't find it to be taxing on me or anything. So yeah, use the website, share your thoughts. I'm also on YouTube. I think this will be streaming on my YouTube as well, which is also You Are Covered Management. And yeah, that's just how you can reach me. I am again appreciative of this opportunity to share the stage with my good brother Knowledge. Peace, God.
Peace, God.
Yes, yes. And it's important that we see the God in each other, that we exchange in our exchanges with each other, that we encounter each other that way, so we see more favorable outcomes in our daily walk and our daily world. And we go out and create, go and be great. You are covered. Always remember that. You are covered.
So this has been amazing, okay? And we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your jewels. And thank you for your correction, okay? And teaching us that no is a
complete sentence.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. All right, my good brother Knowledge, you have a blessed one. To the Knowledge Born Radio Show. Prosperity to you. Going greater, doing much, much more, much more over the next couple of years. I'm excited for you, bro. Peace.
Likewise. Peace.
I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so pleasant about that place. Even your emotions have an echo in so much space. And when you're out there without care, yeah, I was out of touch. But it wasn't because I didn't know enough. I just knew too much. Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? And I hope that you were having the time of your life. But think twice. That's my only advice. Come on now. bless your soul. You really think you're in control? I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy. You're just like me. My heroes have the heart to lose their lives out on a limb. And all I remember is thinking I wanna be like them. Ever since I was little, it looked like fun. And it's no coincidence